You're listening to Red Pill 78. I am the corruption detector, and this is your Red Pill News. First of all, we have a story from the Daily Caller. Well, BuzzFeed's report has been disputed by Mueller, but Adam Schiff says he's going to investigate anyways. Wow. House Intelligence Committee Chairman Adam Schiff said Sunday he will absolutely investigate allegations made in a controversial BuzzFeed article, even though the report has been directly disputed by the special counsel's office. Adam Schiff, what are you thinking? Wasting American tax dollars? Absolutely. Absolutely, Schiff told CBS's Face the Nation when asked whether he would investigate allegations laid out in a BuzzFeed article published Thursday. Congress has a fundamental interest in two things. First, getting to the bottom of why this witness came before us and lied, and who else was knowledgeable that this was a lie, the California Democrat added. BuzzFeed reported former Trump attorney Michael Cohen told the special counsel's office President Donald Trump instructed him to lie to Congress about his efforts to build a Trump Tower in Moscow. The website also reported documents and witness testimony would corroborate Cohen's statements to prosecutors. Let's take a listen.
How do you interpret the special counsel's statement that seemed to challenge some of the reporting in BuzzFeed that the president directed his attorney to lie to Congress about some business dealings in Russia?
Well, I assume that this was prompted by the reaction to that BuzzFeed report, but also it may have to do with the special counsel's wanting to be able to use Michael Cohen as a witness in further prosecutions. And wanted to make sure that the public didn't have the perception that he was saying more than he was saying, at least to the special counsel. But Margaret, I think we need to pay particular attention to what we do know from the special counsel that was not included in the statement yesterday. What we do know from the special counsel is that Michael Cohen has shared information about core matters of the Russia investigation that he learned from people associated with the Trump organization, the business organization. We also know from the special counsel that he has shared information about his communications with people associated with the White House during 2017 and 2018. Now, it was that period during 2017 and 2018 that Michael Cohen was making false statements publicly and to Congress and initially the special counsel about the Trump Tower deal. So there is a lot more to learn. And
so, in other words, Michael Cohen lied, and the special counsel might think that he didn't lie. No, actually the special counsel came out and said that he never said the things that he said, although it's admitted that he definitely lied about some other things, but it seems like he's lying about lying. Michael Cohen was never told by Donald Trump to lie about this Trump Tower Russia thing because it never happened. Okay, BuzzFeed has been refuted by the special counsel, the people who should know. Michael Cohen has already been sentenced. He is awaiting his trip to the clink. Okay? Adam Schiff is grasping at straws. You know, he's so worried about people lying to Congress. What about James Clapper? What about John Brennan? What about those people? Is it only when people are your allies, Adam Schiff, that you don't care about it? Because that's sure the way it seems to me. Schiff and other Democrats immediately pounced on the report, calling for an investigation into whether Trump obstructed justice or suborned perjury by instructing Cohen to lie to Congress. The allegation that the President of the United States may have suborned perjury before our committee in an effort to curtail the investigation and cover up his business dealings with Russia is among the most serious to date. We will do what's necessary to find out if it's true. Looks like the special counsel's office beat you to the punch, Adam Schiff, because they already refuted exactly that story. But in a rare move, the special counsel issued an on-the-record statement disputing the key allegations made in the BuzzFeed story. BuzzFeed's description of specific statements to the special counsel's office and characterization of documents and testimony obtained by this office regarding Michael Cohen's congressional testimony are not accurate. You get me? They're not accurate, Adam Schiff. Peter Carr, a spokesman for special counsel Robert Mueller, said this in a statement Friday night. Schiff said he assumed the Mueller statement was prompted by the reaction to the BuzzFeed story. It takes a real genius to figure that out. Also, it may have to do with special counsel wanting to use Michael Cohen as a witness in further prosecutions and wanting to make sure that the public didn't have the perception that he was saying more than he was saying, at least to the special counsel. That doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. Michael Cohen, if he was going to be used for anything else, they would not have sentenced him already. He's been used. They got what they wanted out of him, and Michael Cohen proved himself to be a perjurer, okay, and a tax evader. He's going to prison. That's it. Adam Schiff, there's no there. Next, in a very disturbing story from the Daily Caller, retired detectives say there's a gang of serial killers in America, and they're responsible for at least 70 quote-unquote accidental drownings. How scary is this? A team of retired police detectives and a gang expert argue about 100 officially ruled accidental deaths might be the work of a gang of serial killers called the Smiley Face Killers. The cases stretch from current day back to 1997 and involve alleged victims who were white, college-aged males possessed of notable athletic and academic ability and were found dead in a body of water displaying alleged signs of foul play. The FBI, local law enforcement agencies, and the Center for Homicide Research have refuted the serial killer theory, but detectives say the presence of the date rape drug GHB in some of the victims, ligature marks on at least one body, and other evidence would show otherwise. A team of retired detectives believes a series of deaths that authorities ruled accidental is actually the work of a sophisticated gang of serial killers. The retired detectives, a group called Global Death Investigators, have given the alleged group of killers a name, the Smiley Face Killers, and say that they might be responsible for about 100 deaths since 1997 across the U.S. Authorities have officially labeled these deaths as accidental drownings. The deceased all bear similar profiles. College-aged white males, athletic and intelligent, who never returned from a night out drinking and whose bodies were later found either in a body of water or washed up on shore. The retired detectives assert the alleged gang of killers operate in cells across the country that communicate via the dark web to recruit, choose victims, and organize the killings. Of those cases the detectives believe are connected to the group, 70 of the alleged victims were found near the graffiti of particular symbols, including a smiley face, that are specific to the alleged serial killer gang. There it is right there. That's the face. To me, this is one of the most dangerous domestic terror groups in the United States, and somebody needs to pay attention to them, Kevin Gannon, a retired New York City police sergeant, told the Daily Beast. The level of sophistication of the group is a lot greater than we'd imagined. Now, we know they communicate with each other on the dark web. We know there's surveillance and counter-surveillance, he added. Professor Lee Gilbertson, who along with Gannon and former NYP detective Anthony Duarte first brought the Smiley Face Killers theory to law enforcement in 2008, explained that he and his colleagues believe the gang operates in cells, with individuals alternating in and out of action across dozens of cities. These are the detectives right here. There might be 12 in that cell, and they go out one night, and 5 of them do this, he said. The next time, it's a different 5. The way it should be conceived is that it's the cell that's the serial killer part of it, not necessarily the individuals, because over time, the individuals in the cell will evolve. Some will age out and just keep their mouths shut. Who wants to go to prison? Gilbertson also assessed that there is a clear pattern among the alleged victims, their youth and their character as high-achieving individuals. The professor believes that envy of their success may be a factor in their deaths. They're targeting the best of the best. These kids are the best students, they're the best athletes, and they come from the best families, Gannon said, echoing Gilbertson's appraisal. Further complicating the investigation of this alleged group of serial killers, besides their sophisticated methods, is the fact that according to Gannon and his cohorts, official law enforcement hasn't displayed any interest in going after the group. All but one of the cases the retired detectives have investigated remain classified as accidental deaths, despite what the detectives say is compelling evidence of foul play in certain cases like that of Dakota James. Dakota was clearly murdered, Gannon said. The first red flag in James's case was a phone call he made to his friend Shelley on the night of December 15, 2016. Shelley said James was sobbing, disoriented, and begging for help. He claimed the police would not help him. "I don't know where I am. I'm so cold. Please help me. I'm lost," he told her. He said he was in Pittsburgh's north side and sent her a picture of a jean-clad leg saying, "I'm here." Shelley went to pick him up in her car, but an app tracking his phone showed Shelley that James was actually in the city's south side. She tried confirming with him, but he responded with more confusion. Nevertheless, she found his location in less than 10 minutes, a hotel in front of which a dark SUV was parked facing the wrong way in the wrong lane. She saw Dakota exit the hotel and make straight for the dark SUV. "I pulled up not even 10 feet away from the SUV, she said. "I said, 'Dakota.' He turns, looks, then comes back over to me, got in my car, and we left." Shelley said James sobbed the whole way home and would not elaborate on what happened. She noted he was frightened but entirely lucid and did not seem drunk or otherwise intoxicated. He said the last thing he remembered was leaving his work Christmas party with coworkers from J.B. Hunt Transport Services Incorporated around 7:15 p.m. All else after that was blank. Shelley offered to take James to the hospital, but he refused. The next day, he brushed off the incident and told her that he just had a bad hangover. He disappeared 5 weeks later. He disappeared 5 weeks later after another night of drinking with his coworkers. A woman walking her dog found his body 40 days after that, floating in the Ohio River with about 30 feet from the shore and 10 miles from where he was last seen in Pittsburgh. The Allegheny County Medical Examiner's Office ruled his death as an accidental drowning, but Gannon, the other retired detectives, and a gang expert say the evidence shows otherwise. The detectives assert that James's body was not decomposed enough to have been in the water for 40 days. His body also showed no damage despite the fact that he had been in the water for 40 days. He would have passed beneath a concrete and steel dam. Cyril Wecht, a forensic pathologist and former Allegheny County medical examiner who reviewed James's autopsy report, also said ligature marks appeared to be on his neck, indicating someone strangled him. Wecht said the marks were strongly suggestive of and entirely consistent with a ligature having been applied around the neck. This death may have been due to ligature strangulation, according to Oxygen. Wecht also noted a distinct difference in the coloration of the fingernail beds of the fourth and fifth fingers on both the right and left hands. That certainly would be consistent with someone reaching up and trying to release the pressure from a ligature that is being applied around their neck. In addition, someone used James's PayPal account 2 days after he disappeared for an $11.99 transaction. Detectives also noted 11 smiley faces spray-painted on Roberto Clemente Bridge, where police allege James fell into the water, about 10 miles away from where his body was found. The retired detectives say the symbols are usually spray-painted on the first man-made structure that can be seen from where the victims' bodies are found, though they don't know if the graffiti was at the bridge before James's death. The retired detectives assert they have similar evidence in other cases, and they even have suspects, but law enforcement agencies have denounced these claims. The FBI said in a 2008 statement while they had investigated the retired detectives' claims of the involvement of the smiley face killers, they have not developed any evidence to support links between these tragic deaths or any evidence substantiating the theory that these deaths are the work of a serial killer or killers. The vast majority of these instances appear to be alcohol-related drownings, this statement said. The Center for Homicide Research also denounced the serial killer theory after investigating 40 of the drowning cases. Gannon, however, remains undeterred, especially in light of the fact that 30 of the young men who died in supposed accidental drownings had the date rape drug GHB in their system, including James, according to their autopsy reports. Several recent victims, including James, had also come out as gay shortly before their disappearances, adding to the supposed pattern. Gannon's tenacious investigating also forced law enforcement to reclassify the death of Chris Jenkins, a 21-year-old University of Minnesota student, from accidental drowning to homicide. Jenkins' case remains active and open, but his parents say they have heard little to no progress from law enforcement and don't even know which officer has been assigned to their son's case. Gilbertson argues that if police would investigate the claims more closely and apply pressure to his colleagues' suspects and leads, the alleged gang would collapse. If they did, the network will still start to fall apart, Gilbertson said. Someone will squeal or snitch, but there's no reason to now. Everything's going fine for them. As for Gannon, he said he won't rest until he fulfills the promise he made to the mother of Patrick McNeil in 1997 while working as a detective on the first case he encountered that he believes is connected to the smiley face killers. Patrick disappeared when he was 20 years old after drinking with his friends in Manhattan. His body was found 2 months later floating in the East River close to the Bay Bridge area of Brooklyn. Witnesses told Gannon they saw Patrick being closely followed by a couple in a car that night, and Gannon's appraisal of the site where Patrick supposedly fell into the river cast doubt on law enforcement's claims that he went down to the river to urinate and fell in. The fact that there was hardly any access to the river at the site and the fact that 2 more young men disappeared within the subsequent 15 months and were also found in the river roused Gannon's suspicions. Gannon told Jackie McNeil that he wouldn't quit until he found her son's killer, and he hasn't quit yet. Very scary stuff, you guys. You need to be very careful. Everybody who's out there, everybody likes to go to the bar, everybody likes to hang out with their friends. You never know what somebody's going to put in your drink. You never know who's going to be around. It sounds to me like this is probably some type of thrill kill cult. You've got people that are meeting up in the dark web, and then they choose people, maybe somebody they don't like, maybe a rival at work. Then they have these other people kill them. They got plausible deniability. Nobody gets caught because nobody's going to speak out, and you've got people that are highly sophisticated and organized in the way that they do it. This is so incredibly frightening. Everybody be careful. And lastly, one more from the Daily Caller. Trump to Pelosi, I'll get back to you soon on the State of the Union. President Donald Trump said he has so many options for delivering the State of the Union address after House Speaker Nancy Pelosi asked him to delay it because of the partial government shutdown. Nancy, I am still thinking about the State of the Union speech. There are so many options, including doing it as per your written offer made during the shutdown. Security is no problem. And my written acceptance, Trump wrote on Twitter Sunday. While a contract is a contract, I'll get back to you soon. There's the tweet right there. Pelosi sent Trump a letter Wednesday seeking to delay the State of the Union address or have the president deliver a written address. Pelosi cited the Department of Homeland Security's partial funding and said the Secret Service would not be able to provide adequate security. Trump's address is scheduled for January 29th. You bet we're going to be watching that. Many congressional Republicans have floated plans to allow Trump to bypass Pelosi's invitation to deliver the address. Republican Kentucky Senator Rand Paul suggested Trump bypass the House of Representatives entirely and deliver the speech from the Senate floor Thursday. Republican Kentucky Rep. Thomas Massie echoed Paul's suggestion in a tweet Saturday. Could Donald Trump deliver the State of the Union address in the Senate? The Senate floor is smaller than the House floor, but as you can see in this photograph, there are enough seats if some of us sit in the gallery, Massie wrote on Twitter Sunday. Look at that. I think that's a great idea. You don't need all the seats in the House. You can totally fill it here in the Senate. Pelosi and Trump's standoff stems from the parties' disagreement over border wall funding that led to the partial government shutdown in the first place. Sunday marked day 30 of the partial government shutdown, triggered by the inability of Congress and the White House to agree on funding the border that Trump wants. Pelosi has said a border wall would be immoral. You hear that, guys? Sunday marked day 30. That means tomorrow is day 31. Wonder what's going to happen. Sure hope something happens. Trump also accused the Democrats of being only focused on 2020 after Pelosi rejected Trump's offer to bring deferred action for childhood arrivals and temporary protected status extensions into a compromise to reopen the government Saturday. Nancy Pelosi and some of the Democrats turned down my offer yesterday before I even got up to speak, Trump wrote on Twitter Sunday morning. They don't see crime and drugs. They only see 2020, which they are not going to win. Best economy. They should do the right thing for the country and allow people to go back to work. Amen, President Trump. That is so true. And, since they haven't, like I was just saying, we're into day 30 now. So tomorrow is day 31. We have gone past that 30-day threshold, and we've got that whole plan put together by Mick Mulvaney at the Office of Management and Budget. Everybody cross your fingers. Let's hope that something is put into place, because we've got a lot of departments with a lot of waste and a lot of redundancy, and we can make some room. We can drain that swamp. All right, everyone, thank you so much for joining me. I am, once again, Red Pill 78, the corruption detector, and this was your Red Pill News. Good luck, everyone, and God bless.